Before the theme song, for the record, Hulu was late bringing Raw to their streaming service. So I watched it as soon as I could. Just so you know, Bob wasn't late. Don't blame Bob. Blame Hulu for this late release of the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Sometimes you get trapped in a headlock and you're worried about smearing your lip gloss. You shoot her off and take a shoulder block. Do a leapfrog, give her a hip toss. On the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Old school, sometimes you go over the top rope and you bang your head on the ring apron. Don't do that. That's when you feel like a big dope. They're the worst bumps you can be taking. Oh, it's the hardest part of the ring. Hey, the hardest part of the ring. Now double claps. What's going on, Bob Squad? It's the January 19th Hulu edition. Hulu edition. A WWE Monday Night Raw that I screw up the claps. I sure did. But that's what happens on the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Ba-da-ba-da. Whoa. Yay. What is going on, Bob Squad? How the heck are you? How's Tricks? How's the kids? Some weather we're having. Let me take a sip of water. I'm not properly hydrated. Hold on a second. Don't go anywhere. That is some good water. You know I drink mostly warm water. That's really all I drink. And some Diet Pepsi and Diet Dr. Pepper, which tastes just like regular Dr. Pepper. And just a reminder, I haven't said this in a while, but if you haven't, go to coca-cola.com/Dr. Pepper. Enter the promo code BobSquad. Nothing happens. Nothing. They would like me to stop. Alrighty. Okie dokie. What are we talking about? We were talking about the Hulu edition. The Hulu edition. What they think is what WWE feels is the most important stuff for you to know for the WWE Raw programming. When we start the show, hold the phone, stop the press, back the buggy up, Daddy. We start the show with Hulk Hogan slamming Andre the Giant, as we always do. That still opens everything. And if you notice, I don't know if I brought this up before, but I'm going to bring it up again. Or for the first time, I don't know. When they show their superstars, when they show Lashley and Big E and probably Lesnar and Seth Rollins and yada yada yada, and Becky Lynch, they always show them doing their entrance or maybe some kind of whatever their pose is in front of a green screen with the graphics. They never show any actual wrestling clip except for one, and it's Hulk Hogan slamming Andre the Giant. That's how much that moment means to Vince. Of all the things that they did, all the things in the past they just erase, never happened, forget about it. Let's just worry about the here and now. What can we sell today? What can we make you buy? What event can we make you order today? Fair enough. But the one wrestling move that they still will swear by as being iconic is Hulk Hogan slamming Andre the Giant. Now, if it were up to Bob, I'm going to get to the show very soon, I promise. But if it were up to Bob, yes, it would start with Hulk Hogan slamming Andre the Giant. It would also have Brock Lesnar pinning The Undertaker. It would still have that bloody shot of Stone Cold and the Sharpshooter. You might even have Hulk Hogan handing his belt to the Warrior. You might have a bunch of Shawn Michaels stuff. They used to have that clip forever, maybe they still do, of him jumping off the ladder at WrestleMania 10. And they put the old Mankind in the cell in there. Maybe, speaking of cells, Kane ripping the door off. That kind of stuff. Easy stuff. Maybe Hogan and Rock squaring off because you got to have some Rock in there. And then it switches and the music and the graphic changes a little bit and it gets a little more modern or something like that, and not as iconic but more modern, and whatever their song is, and it's Big E giving Lashley a thing, or I know they don't like Big E anyway, so whatever. Lashley doing something big, and Seth Rollins maybe doing his move, or Drew McIntyre, remember him? Doing his move. Now they just show their person posing with graphics. It looks like it was done in the studio, because it was. We don't feel nothing. Okay, enough. Let's talk about the show. Let's talk about the show. We opened the show with talking. More talking. Becky Lynch comes out. And she's great. She basically has her own segment. I think I said last week, just give her her own show with a big time, whatever the hell. Give it some silly name. Might as well. Might as well. Banter with Becky. I don't know, whatever the hell. Something. Call it the lynch mob. Maybe don't in these times. Maybe not a good idea. Call it something. I don't know. The Irish curse. I don't know what the hell to call it. Alright? Think of something. Oh, Sheamus has a move called that. Whatever. They forgot about Sheamus. Anyway, Becky talks a very long time about Doudrop, who we know is never going to win at the Royal Rumble. Becky talks for a while. She's interrupted by somebody. Oh, she's interrupted by Doudrop, who I think finally didn't do the finger thing. That sounds weird. And there's more talking. Everybody's just yapping. They're not taking it. I think the performers aren't taking it seriously, and the audience is out of this. Bianca Belair comes out. She was pretty good, and they were in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they liked Bianca just fine. She has to say EST a few times too many, but other than that, Bianca does get a bit better at this every single time. Liv Morgan, who comes out next, not so much. Not so much. It's not her thing. I mean, you can tell of the four of them, three of them are told what to say and do word for word and not react to anything. And Becky's got the bullet points and she can react and everything else. And Becky had fun with the Oklahoma crowd, as Maurice did later on, too. So, the four of them argue about the tag match they're going to have later because, the cliche, can they coexist was going around on Twitter. Everybody was goofing on that. Because it's such a cliche. Everyone who's fighting each other has to be in a tag match. They didn't even set up this tag match. There was no Sonya and Adam Pearce segment to tell you, here's why we're forcing these enemies to fight or these future opponents to fight. No, we're just going to make them just because. And we just have to go with it. Because that's WWE. It's what we do. It's what we do. So it sets up a tag team match. But before, and we got to do this maneuver now, we go to a break. We come back. Aren't these four women in the ring who hate each other, about to kill each other? Hold on. We have to look at Chad, Gable, and Otis in graduation caps and gowns. I'm not kidding. They have to wear caps and gowns because they won the tag team championships last week. So now we don't care about our champions. Our champions are goofs and jokes because they're doing a fake graduation ceremony after becoming the champions and beating a team that had the belts for a long, long time in this day and age. Okay, something was on my computer. I had to blow it off. So now they're jokes, but also let's go back to the ring, and there's a tag team match. And this thing lasted 2-3 minutes tops. Liv takes the pin, of course. Doudrop hits Liv with the bonsai drop. I'm not kidding. She does Yokozuna's finish. As if they couldn't shame her anymore, huh? Alright then. So that was that. Because Doudrop does have to get the pin clearly, and Doudrop and Becky were doing the tags where you slapped each other on the shoulder too hard and you didn't want to get tagged out. But you are, and you are. God, I think we've seen this year, let alone. They won't do it with Lesnar and Lashley because Lesnar's not wrestling on TV. And I don't think Roman would be involved in that nonsense either, so maybe they have to give it to the women. I'll be surprised if they don't have a tag team match with two dudes like Dolph and Rude versus Edge and Miz, just because. We'll get to them. Doudrop wins with the bonsai drop, and then she gives one to Becky as well. And Becky sells it. And at least Becky, before she knows she's definitely winning no matter what, she sells and puts over her future opponent as much as possible. So I didn't have a problem with it. I think my overall downer on this show, and I am down on this show more than any other show in January so far. I am down on this Monday Night Raw. Why is that, Bob? Well, I'll tell you, Bob. We stopped building up to pay-per-views on our TV. They did. And now it just feels more like instead of building to a pay-per-view with TV, we're killing time to get to a pay-per-view. And I think that's what's really just blah. I have nothing. I don't hate the show either. There's nothing passionate. I have no feelings on this show. It's that sterile. Just because we're just waiting and waiting to get to the Rumble. We're not building the story. Nothing. No story is advancing. No story is advancing. You could have missed this show, seen last week's, and known exactly what was going on. Because nothing moved. It didn't change anyone's stakes at the Royal Rumble, except 98 people announcing they're going to be in the Royal Rumble like it's a big deal. Like if there's 30 men and 30 women, and you're not in a singles match and you're on TV regularly, we just assume you're going to be in the Rumble. But Owens even had to address it. He's like, you won't believe this shocking, crazy news. And he was correct. Anyway, moving on. Oh, Kevin Owens. Next. Oh, Kevin Owens is next, and he's talking, and that's one of the things he said. So on the Hulu edition, because Hulu, they always kill matches before promos. We go from an opening segment, 15 minutes of women talking, 2-minute match, 10 minutes of Kevin Owens talking, maybe 15, and he's out there with his buddy Seth Rollins, and of course Seth, has to talk for a long time and do the fake laugh every single show as well. And again, pretty much right after Becky's segment, so they can leave together. They always do this. But anyway, they're interrupted by Damian Priest, who, God, no one cared about him. And Priest had the Liv Morgan problem, or the anyone talking to Becky Lynch problem. Kevin and Seth, you could tell, are pretty much trusted to go out and get the points across and do it their way. And the babyface interrupting them, who we're supposed to like and feel for and interact with, has to be as robotic and word for word and rehearsed as possible, and it's ass backwards. Anyway, this leads to a match: Damian Priest versus Kevin Owens for a U.S. Championship, not on the line, so you can see where this is going. The Tulsa, Oklahoma crowd, from what I was hearing, they were excited more for Kevin Owens. They cared more about Owens. Granted, Owens has been on TV longer, but he did just insult them and everything else, and they didn't care. They were cheering for Owens. The guy who entertained him. His Priest looks like $1 million. Owens does not. But the guy who entertained them, they're cheering for. It ain't that hard. They had a pretty good match back and forth. I don't remember how long it went. A lot of false finishes. Owens wins with the good old playing possum, and he hits his stunner, 1, 2, 3. I liked that. And I didn't think that was going to happen. I thought Priest just beats him because they're just so protective of Priest right now. Priest has been on that push to nowhere. He's had that role for a little while now. We're pushing him to who knows where, and so is Omos, but he wasn't on this edition. They keep hamming up the. You can tell when an announcer is told to say something by Vince or whoever Vince told to say told him to say it. They had to say the Damian side versus the Priest side over and over and over, like a Damian side of Damian Priest is the evil side, and the Priest side is the good side, except Priest molests kids. I don't know why. Okay, that came out of nowhere. We do our graduation ceremony talking. We have yet to have a match that starts with regular ring introductions and a match. Why is the ring announcer even there? There's a big, long graduation ceremony. Of course, a few people noted, as if I wouldn't have noticed, they were playing the Pomp and Circumstance song at the beginning of it, which, of course, is Randy Savage's theme. Now, they weren't playing the actual Randy Savage theme, where they actually start the Pomp and Circumstance song about 3 minutes in, but still, they were playing Pomp and Circumstance, which was really funny, and they didn't show anyone in the crowd doing, because everyone in the crowd was doing the point and the Macho Man's pose and all that good stuff, and how do 90% of the people there not start going, ooh, yeah, freak out, Pomp and Circumstance, that's familiar music, music to my ears, alright, doing the thing, yeah, alright, here, let's do the segment, yeah, Matt Riddle, yeah, it's not Matt anymore, okay. Okay, enough of that. I can't keep that up forever. Hey, story of my life. Okie dokie. It was an erection joke. Gable talks for a long time, and Otis is there, and they wear gowns, and Chad Gable was very good here. Again, he had fun with the... I think it's like 4 different bad guys just all came out and just shit all over Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is hilarious. Can't go wrong there. And what happened next? I'm looking at my notes. I don't know. Oh, Riddle interrupts, and he's wearing a silly gown as well. And then Orton sneaks up from behind, and he gives, I think, Gable... Oh, yeah, Riddle tricks Otis into kind of chasing him halfway up the ramp. And that gives Orton the opportunity to hit his move on Gable, because everyone loves when he hits that move. And Orton, to my surprise, puts on the gown cap himself, which I didn't think he was going to do. I'm hoping we see Orton on the scooter. So they're trying to get another match, at least one more match out of this Otis Gable RK Bro thing. Where it goes, I don't know. I mean, I hope it doesn't happen at the Rumble, and you just put the 4 of them in the Rumble and let them advance their issue in the Rumble, but who the hell knows. They're going to do something where Riddle accidentally knocks out Randy, or vice versa. They could always do that too. Because I have to imagine it's Riddle and Orton at Mania. No? Gotta be. What happens from there, I don't know. But yeah, Riddle and Orton at Mania. I mean, what else? Where else can you go? It's not going to be Riddle and Orton versus Otis and Gable at WrestleMania. And now it will be because I said so and I'm an idiot. Okay, so we did all that. Then we cut to Vince McMahon, who's 77 and looks 177. And he's yelling at Austin Theory, and he tells a 23-year-old kid in the prime of his life, Vince says that Vince will kick his ass. And he said something about blood and snot because we need as many bodily fluids in Vince McMahon's speeches as possible. And then he tells Austin Theory he's going to take a selfie of beating up Austin Theory and send it to his mother if Austin Theory does not defeat Finn Balor. Okay. And Austin Theory has to act scared. Scared of losing his job? Yeah, he can totally act scared of losing his job. Scared of getting beat up by Vince McMahon at this stage of the game. And we had to have multi-cameras, which, you know, are there some cards with some bullet points off to the side? Did we pre-tape this thing and we're chopping it up to get the best chunks just to get this 90-second horseshit half coherent? That's my guess. I have no idea. Why would it be live to tape? It's in a freaking office. They gotta tape that during the day. Plus, by 9:30 at Eastern time, by 9:30 at night, I gotta imagine Vince is asleep, no? That's why he thinks the wrong guys are over. Okay, Bob, enough. Finn Balor enters the ring. But while Finn Balor enters the ring, we have a video package celebrating Martin Luther King and Martin Luther King Day, which is all fine and good. WWE does not have a great history of racial sensitivity. I really just don't know why they bother with this one. There are certain holidays, it's weird when they put the word happy in front of it, like Happy MLK Day is a weird thing. Like, people don't realize in America, idiots say Happy Memorial Day. Well, Memorial Day, you have a Monday off in late May. You're supposed to be honoring dead troops. And granted, listen, this is America. Nobody does. We're selfish fucking pigs. We just eat burgers and drink piss beer and then scratch our asses and take huge dumps and come into Tuesday and being like, oh, it's Tuesday, it feels like Monday. Durr, I ate too many hot dogs. I don't know what animal is in that meat. Shut up. This is why the whole country's going to hell. I went off topic. The point is, it's weird to say that for certain holidays. But anyway, they do a nice video package on Martin Luther King, which is great. If you're in the live crowd, you are staring at Finn Balor, who's in the dark, looking up at a screen for like a 3-minute MLK video package. And then they take a commercial break, they come back, and they play 6 seconds of Finn Balor's song. And it looks like no one gives a fuck about Finn Balor. They love Finn Balor. If you watch his entrance, and it was on, they kept his entrance in on Hulu, to my surprise. Probably because it's an Austin Theory match, and that's Vince's guy now. The crowd was all into Finn Balor. If you watch his entrance, they like him. It's like he's a somewhat younger version of the way that Jeff Hardy was and Rey Mysterio is treated. They just love him forever. Now Finn and Dolph too, in a way, but Finn has a little bit ways to go, obviously, in terms of time and age and legacy and etc. etc. But it's kind of, he's on that path, it looks like. Let me take some more water. I'm thirsty. But not as thirsty as I was when I watched that for a good wrestling match. It was a very good wrestling match. I mean, it was really brief. Theory just beats him clean, I think. Hits his finish, and then after he hits his finish, he beats up Finn Balor again and hits his finish again, takes 2 selfies. Corey Graves ejaculates in his underwear. Bob, that came out of nowhere. God damn it, I didn't even mean that one. But he went there. And that was that. So that's the Finn Balor pathway. I wrote down 5 minutes, and then I wrote down 1, 2, 3, LOL. So that's okay. Let's move this on here. Maurice is in the ring for more talking. Okay, let me think. Maurice, graduation, Kevin Owens, Becky. That's 4 big talking segments. The Kevin Owens one had Seth Rollins in it, so that's going to take forever. Again, Maurice was terrific. She came off as a real person, but was still inadvertently rude to everyone in Oklahoma, which I love that. Again, Oklahoma got shit on. But I do like WWE, or at least on Raw, finally acknowledging the city they're in. It's so annoying when they don't. They were in Philadelphia the week before, last week. And they brought it up a few times, but now this show also had no Lesnar, no Heyman, which is probably why it had room for some other people to talk and do this and this. If Heyman and Lesnar were on this show, the graduation ceremony would not have happened. Or it would have been a 90-second sketch, whatever the hell segment. I don't give a shit what you call it. But it wouldn't have been a big, long, talky thingy, I don't think, if Lesnar and Heyman were on this show. Anyway, Maurice talks for a while, and she calls out Beth Phoenix and asks Beth to come talk to her, woman to woman, to mother alone, yada yada yada. And this did not make Hulu, but it's my understanding that earlier in the show there was a segment where Beth found a note, a handwritten note by Maurice, supposedly asking her to come out to the ring. That this segment was not acknowledged by the announcers, and it was not shown on Hulu at all, but apparently there was a segment where they find a note. That sounds like something a 77-year-old man would think of. Who the hell sends a note? Well, I guess Beth and Maurice wouldn't have one another's phone numbers if they're enemies, so that's fair. But if Maurice knows that Edge and Phoenix are in the building anyway, and are they supposed to be right at Gorilla? Like, right behind the curtain? And they're just hanging out there? I don't understand the whole note thing. I can't imagine being the poor bastard that's told, hey, write a note that you think Maurice would write to Beth to get her to come out to the ring, and that's your job. Like, fuck that, dude. Seriously, I'd jump off a fucking bridge. Oh, anyway. Beth, thankfully, at least her and Edge were not dumb baby faces, like they weren't believing Maurice. They smelled a setup. Okay, good. But Beth does turn around for a second, and Miz jumps out of the crowd, dressed all in black, which I kind of liked, because it made sense that why he would try to not be spotted. And he brawls with Edge, and even though Edge punches him off or whatever the hell, which is good, Maurice hits Beth with her purse and knocks her out and runs away. Her purse, you say? When they get to the top of the ramp, they reveal they had a brick in the purse. Very old school wrestling, which you don't see anymore. I liked it. Very Sherry Martel, reminded me of. I just was like, oh, okay. And a lot of times when Sherry would do that for Randy Savage in 1991, they wouldn't even show you the brick in a purse. It didn't matter. The purse just looked full. They put whatever the hell in there. And it's called selling. But it's possible that the brick Maurice pulled out was just a gimmicked rubber brick or whatever the hell it was. Why? Because she pulls it out of that bag and holds it over her head like it's nothing. Like, oh, like the handguns in the movies. No offense to Scarlett Bob Hansen or whatever her name is, but when she's holding up a pistol that weighs like 10, 15 pounds and whatever. No, not 15 pounds, like 10 pounds, and I don't know anything about guns, clearly. But she's holding it out at an angle, your shoulders should get tired very quickly, But then Maurice quickly, like, she did that, and then she quickly did, like, a whoa, like it was too heavy, she was about to drop it. I think Maurice caught herself waving the brick up in the air, like, oh, shit. And then she had to play, like, oh, it's actually heavy. Whatever. I don't even care. I mean, I hope they didn't put a freaking brick in there. There's no, And granted, she didn't get hit in the head, she got hit in, like, between the shoulder blades, but it's a little dodgy and not necessary, so I'm hoping there's a rubber brick in there or something. Okay. Let's mercifully end this, huh? Oh no, god damn it. We're not done. Shit. We're not even close. There's a big long package. Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley have sweaty, meaty, throbbing, blue-veined packages that we have to look at up close. And then we see coming next, Alexa in a therapy office. But we're going to get there. It's going to be second to last once again on the Hulu edition anyway. Miz and Maurice are back with their brick and their purse, and they're talking to an Irish guy. And they gloat. And that's all you need to know. The second week in a row, Alexa Bliss is having her therapy session, and for the second week in a row, both her and the therapist are wearing the same clothes. These were filmed clearly on the same day, which is fine, but I just want anyone to know who's listening that Bob noticed, okay? Now, Alexa Bliss, that character of that version of her tends to wear the same thing all the time. Noticeable. I mean, not noticeable, fine. But, yeah, the therapist is wearing the same freaking clothes. Which makes sense, because why would you pay... There's no reason to film those one at a time. Why would you pay some idiot who doesn't work there for 3 different days or for whatever? There can't be more than one more of these. I gotta imagine 3 is the lucky number with these things. Because they don't go anywhere. Yeah, nothing happened in this. Really, nothing happened. Yeah, it was a bit. That's why I say these shows don't build to the Rumble. They build to the pay-per-view. They waste time until the pay-per-view happens. I imagine. I'm gonna call it now. And I promise you, I've no help. I have no backdoor knowledge of this. My guess is that next week is the third and final one of these goofy things, and it's just Alexa saying she's going to be in the Royal Rumble. That's probably it. Because what else? What is it, Okay. Bobby Lashley wrestled Seth Rollins. They had a very good match. It wasn't that long. Really hard to do. 2 heels on paper, but Lashley clearly is being groomed for that babyface top spot. And Seth is actually babyface-ish in this feud with Roman. But more heelish on Raw, because Roman's not there. It's weird how they're doing it. But anyways, sirens going on behind me. They're sick of the podcast too. It's a DQ. I mean, they had a pretty good match. The Hurt Business run beats up Lashley. Lashley powers back and kicks the crap out of them, which was good. And them circling MVP and him holding up his cane like, let's go. That was cool. I enjoyed that. Seth turns around. The Usos jump over the rail and they double super kick Seth Rollins. They leave him laying because we had just seen a clip before the match of Seth Rollins getting the better of the Usos on SmackDown last Friday. So that makes sense. I believe the Usos finally have different hair. Like one of them is shorter black hair. And the other one kept the long hair that's mostly red now, I think. So now if they would just tell us which one did what to his hair, but they're not going to. So still, it's not going to work. And that's it. It's a DQ. I guess technically Lashley wins by DQ because he got attacked first. They never announced it, so why would we know? Why do we need to know the outcome of the match? Who cares, right? Yeah, wrong. But, I mean, you book yourself into a corner. You have two number one contenders, which they can't say that word. Your two top contenders for your two championship matches are going against each other. Well, there's no finish here. You can't have one. So it didn't support once I saw that graphic earlier on. I'm like, well, there's no finish to this. Like, what are they gonna do? Beat one? And where's the momentum going in against either Lesnar or Roman? You're gonna do that? If you pin Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns has every reason to be pissed off. And if you beat Bobby Lashley, even if you screw him, Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman have every reason to be pissed off. Because that's the contender you bring me, and now you want me to make this match magic? Like, how? Okay. That's it. That's all. That is all. If Lashley, however, and the Royal Rumble is not this weekend, it's the weekend after. It's Saturday, another Saturday. I don't know if this is a regular thing. I don't know how I feel about it yet. I'm undecided. What was I going to say? Yeah, I forgot. Okay, so we got a week and a half until the Royal Rumble. One of the things Lashley could have done better to not get attacked by Hurt Business was not try to pin Seth Rollins so close to the ropes, which is by the ring apron, which is the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Oh, double claps!